Okay, when you are adding a fraction, if they have the same denominators like this, then you just add the numerators and you rewrite the denominator. This works even if it's a mixed number like this. So a mixed number has a whole number like 1 and then a fraction with it. So the first step would be to add the numerators, which is 2, rewrite the denominator like we did up here, and then the third step is to add the whole numbers. 1 plus 2 is 3. So we write a 3, and then our fraction is 2/5. If the denominators are different, like this one, I like to write it this way. You can write it however you want, but I like to have more room. So I'm going to find what number when multiplied up, what would be the common number of both 2 and 5? It would be 10. So I count up by 2s, I count up by 5s till I get a common number, and then I change this denominator to a 10, and I change this denominator to a 10. And in math, I cannot just change a 2 to a 10. So I'm going to multiply this by 5, and anything I do to the denominator, I do to the numerator. Jaylyn, you can keep reading, honey.
Do you want me to go on mute, or do you want me to just keep on?
Yeah, go on mute until I tell you. And then same with this. I can't just change a 5 to a 10, so what did I have to do? I multiplied it by 2, and anything I do to the denominator, I do to the numerator. And then now I have the same denominator, which is 10, and then I just add the numerators. 5 plus 2 is 7. Now, if this had a whole number like 2 plus 1, my last step would be to add these together. So it'd be 3 and 7/10. So that is adding. If this was a subtraction instead of addition, then my last step would be to subtract this and to subtract this. So it'd be 2.5 minus 1 1/5. This turns into 5/10. This turns into 2/10. And then I'm subtracting, so I would do 5 minus 2 is 3/10, and then 2 minus 1 is 1. So that is adding and subtracting fractions and mixed numbers. To multiply, we're just going to multiply across. 1/5 times 1/2 equals 1/10. Pretty easy. If it is a mixed number like this, then we have to change it to an improper fraction. And to change it to an improper fraction, we do denominator times whole number plus numerator. So my denominator is 5 times 1 is 5 plus 1 is 6/5 times denominator times whole number plus numerator is 3/2, and then I multiply across. 6 times 3 is 18, 5 times 2 is 10. Now, normally our numerator is smaller than our denominator, but since this one, the numerator is bigger, we have to change it to a mixed number. So we're going to put the 10 here, and then we're going to put the 18 here. And we're going to say, how many times does 10 go into 18? 1 time. 1 times 10 is 10, with a remainder of 8. So this is 1, and then the remainder goes as the numerator, and then the denominator stays the same. 1 and 8/10. For division of fractions, we're going to rewrite the first fraction, change the division to a multiplication, and then we're going to flip the second fraction so the numerator becomes the denominator and the denominator becomes the numerator. And then we're going to do 1 times 2 is 2, 5 times 1 is 5. So if I had a mixed number like this, and I was dividing, I would change it to an improper fraction, denominator times whole number plus numerator. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 1 is 6/5, divided by denominator times whole number plus numerator equals 3/2. Now I follow the same steps as we did up above. I write the first fraction, I change my division to a multiplication, and I flip the second fraction. So my numerator becomes my denominator, and my denominator becomes my numerator, and then I just multiply across. 6 times 2 is 12, and 5 times 3 is 15.